Hi, welcome back. I feel like I don't usually do sit down videos unless it's like really something that I feel like in my heart to share. So today I am talking about, as you can tell from the title, about silencing your inner critic or the enemy, whatever you want to call it, the negativity. I just want to preface and say that I am not a psychologist or therapist or any of those things. I don't claim to be, but I do think that this is worth sharing because I just got hip to it and it has been helping me a lot. So, your inner critic could also be known as your inner voice. Some people say, like, the angel and the devil, your sub personality that demeans and judges yourself or others. And I don't know about you, but my inner critic comes out to play way more than I would like it to. And it can also just kind of creep up out of nowhere, and you're like, wait, why am I thinking this about myself? What happened? Like, I was just minding my own business. And a wise woman told me that that is your inner critic. For the longest, I was saying that it was the devil, it was the enemy. But what this wise person told me is that sometimes that can make it seem a lot bigger than what it is. And it kind of just seems like this very big, grandiose thing that you're just like, oh, why won't you leave me alone? And it's like when you are able to kind of name it and regain your power from it, it gives you this sense of, okay, I can conquer this. Okay, this is not actually coming from me. So, what I recently learned is this concept called externalization, which is somewhat of like a defense mechanism, but what it is just gaining your power back. And from my understanding, it was founded, or the concept was created by Freud, which is a renowned psychologist. And externalization is a defense mechanism by which an individual projects their own internal characteristics onto the outside world, particularly onto other people. So, the way that sometimes externalization can be used is if you give it a name. So, I give mine the name. Well, I don't want to say the name of what I'm giving my inner critic, but let's just say you call your inner critic Steve, or that you call your inner critic Sarah. It's like when those thoughts kind of come up of, hey, I'm not enough, or hey, I'm fat, or hey, I'm broke, or I can't afford this. Like all of those very limiting beliefs about what you are not and what you cannot do. It's like naming it, being like, hey, Sarah, you are not welcomed here. Hey, Steve, you're not welcomed here. So you can kind of regain your power back and detach from those thoughts, so it doesn't feel so much like it's coming from you, because they're not coming from you. The essence of who we are is love at the center. The essence of who we are is positivity. Like God wants the best for us. The universe wants the best for us. We are called to have abundance and to have good things. So what I recently heard that really kind of rang true for me and that really deeply resonated was that if it is against you, it is not for you or coming, or is if it is against you, it is not from you. Meaning that sometimes we can kind of think like, oh, I'm just a negative person, or oh, we'll get down on ourselves about having an inner critic or having these thoughts about ourselves or about other people, when really it's not even from us. So it's like really doing what you can to protect your mind, because the world sometimes I feel like is very negative depending on what you consume. So that could be anything from music, that could be anything from the people that you're around, to the conversations that you're having, to what you're watching on TV, to what you're reading. Like everything is really like, your mind is a temple. Like your mind is a sponge and it absorbs. So whatever you're putting into it, whatever type of things that you're not doing to nourish it, it will, I feel like, sometimes work against you. And I've been in my case, I feel like I have been experiencing that a lot lately because I have been dealing with quite a bit of change. And even if the change is positive, you can still have those thoughts and have those feelings and have those concerns and the fear. And fear is just, that's just a human thing. Like we as humans can feel very fearful. We can feel very worried, but it's like really building up your toolbox to not feel those ways and to silencing that inner critic and detaching from what your inner critic says and assigning it something, like being like, you know what, Sarah, Steve, that's the example we're using, is like, go sit in the corner. I'm having a great day and I am not the one today. Like, do not, it's like really getting your power back. And I haven't really been using this mechanism or this mindset for long, but I have been noticing that it helps for the times that I need it, because sometimes we can just have these very negative downloads, these very negative things that you don't want to be thinking about yourself or others, that you don't necessarily want to be showing up as, because none of us are innately negative people. None of us are born negative. It's these things that we download and that we consume and that are told to us and that are learned behaviors and that are just burdens that we pick up along the way. So just as easily as we pick them up, we can reverse it and drop them and unlearn them and really regain our power. And this is a conversation that I've been having with a few of my girlfriends about just like what our inner critics are saying to us and how much it's a lie, and how like when you keep all of those things to yourself, then you add the element of shame on it. So it's like, that's why it's also really good to like have good friends that you can talk to about these things and people that you can trust, so that they can also reaffirm, hey, that's a lie. Like, you're not, like, these lies that are being told to you, these lies that you are believing are not true, and here's why. It's also that, like, not letting your inner critic kind of shame you into silence or shame you into isolation. And it's just like, I just felt the need that to like someone, I'm hoping that this like helps someone or someone can identify with this, because I know for a fact that the inner critic or the enemy, whatever you want to call it, can be so isolating, because you can feel like, hey, am I the only one feeling like this? Am I the only one experiencing this or going through this? You can reaffirm yourself and being like, that's not true. I'm taking steps. Even if they're baby steps, they're still steps, and I am progressing. I am not where I used to be. And that's the thing sometimes about like some things about like growth is like, sometimes they're only evident to you. They may not be evident to other people. They may not be something that you can put in display or put into an Instagram picture. Like, only you really know where you have come from and how you've evolved and how you've changed. And so it's like, that's worth being proud of. And not all growth can be displayed. Not all growth can be talked about, and not all growth can be celebrated by other people. That's why it's like, as you are growing and glowing, it's like, it's a very personal experience. It's a very personal journey. So it's like reaffirming yourself with the truth, being like, no, I'm super proud of how far I've come, even if it can't necessarily be seen. Let's say, for example, I could be having a bad week, not feeling that great about myself. I'm not going to listen to like demeaning music that isn't, you know what I mean? That kind of is pushing that narrative. It's like really just protecting your mind, protecting the conversations that you're having. Like, our words are power. So if you're saying that like, hey, I'll never this, or I'm always that, it's like, even those words like never and always, like those generalizations, it's like even cutting that down to and zooming out, being like, you know what, today I'm having a bad day. It's not a bad life. I don't have a bad life. It's just like, hey, today I wasn't my best. It's not like I'm never my best. You know what I mean? So it's just like really being able to zoom out and stop generalizing. And not even just for yourself, but for other people. I noticed that, there have been times where I'm like, oh, he never, whatever. And it's like, that's not true. And I just feel like, hey, you know, my channel is all about community. It's all about like creating a safe space. It's sharing and, you know, providing like tools for positivity and love and, you know, all the good things that make us feel good. Like it's not, as people, we don't want to walk around here feeling bad. Like we want to feel good. We want to feel like things are working out for us. We want to feel like we're in alignment. We want to feel like we have control over our minds. So that's why I'm like, I kind of want to just talk about the inner critic and what I've learned. And I feel like it's an ongoing journey. Like we're never, here we go again, never. We aren't going to get this right away. This is not going to be something that is like, oh, I am a pro at this. It's like an everyday decision, a choice to be like, I'm silencing this, a choice to choose the truth and ignore the lies. The truth, I mean, you know, a process in feeling safe enough to share this with people that love you and support you and that are genuine. A choice to choose, hey, I'm not gonna consume that, or I'm unfollowing that, or I'm unsubscribing for that. Because here's the thing, like we are allowed to change our minds. Like we are allowed to be like, you know what, I don't believe in that anymore. Or, oh, I don't quite subscribe to that anymore. Like we have the ability and the freedom to change our minds. So I hope this helps because it's been really, really helping me. And it's like I'm going to continue to use these things, and I'm so grateful for the people in my life that are speaking wisdom into me, that are helping me come up with these like ways of existing as a human in my inner world. So yeah, I hope this helps, and I hope you subscribe and come back, because as I listen, sharing is caring. Sharing is an act of love. So the more that like I gather these tools and learn how to exist in this world as a human, it's only right for me to pass it along. So I hope you have a good rest of your day or night or whenever you're viewing this, because I'm a strong believer that like you view things and you receive things when you're supposed to. So even if you're seeing this like a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, it's like it's still applicable. So drop a comment below and let me know what tools you use or what things that you're doing to help, you know, silence your inner critic, or things that you're learning along the way, because I would love to know. And until next time, I will see you then. Bye.